It's called asparagus soup, and actually it's made a little bit the same way, but it starts out with asparagus and, again, those shallots. And for those of you who have never seen a shallot, well, this is it. And it's a member of the onion family, but it's a little milder than an onion. And if you didn't have these, well, then you could use scallions for this. So for this recipe, I want to have, three of the shallots cut up. So I just want to cut this up, dice it up. I already have two that I left in my frying pan on my way to see Emilio. So now I just want to cut this one up and add this to the pan and get this going. So now I have to turn this on. And I have about, 2 tablespoons of butter in my frying pan. And actually, those look good enough to eat already. And now I can put the rest of this in. And I just want that to cook down a little while. So now while that's cooking for the asparagus soup, I want to have ready, of course, my asparagus. And you know what? I'm so efficient. I cooked these before I left. And now they're just cooling in the water. And this is about 1 1/4 pounds of asparagus. And you see that? Aren't they beautiful? And I want to cook those in about 2 cups of water. So cook them in 2 cups of boiling water to which you've added a little olive oil, because that will keep the asparagus nice and green. And then save the water because you're going to be using that later on. I want to take these over. And I know they're hot, but who cares? I'm going to get into this anyway. You want to cut these up now. And actually what I want to do is save the tips of the asparagus because I'm going to use those as a garnish. So once you have your asparagus cooked, well then cut off the tips, or if you don't want to cut off the tips, cut off the bottom parts and just set them aside to save. So I think that's going to be just about enough. So I'm going to save those, and I want to turn the heat up on this just a little bit because I really want this shallot to cook down with the rest of it. And then what you want to do is just give this a coarse chop, because you know what? This is all going to get pureed again anyway. So you see how nice and tender this is. And I only cooked these, for about 5 minutes. So now that I have them like that, I can put them in with the shallots. So in they go, very neatly into the pot. And this I'm going to set aside for later. So now I want to give this a nice stir. Well, now you can take this off, and you want to put that through a food processor. And here's mine. If you didn't have a food processor, well, then you would have to do this in a blender. So now let me make sure that all my systems are go here. Turn this down a little bit and turn that one up. All of this goes right into the processor, just like this. And this is an elegant soup. And it's great for anybody who has a toothache. So get all of that in. Then I'm just going to set my pan aside here for the moment because I'll be putting that back on the flame. Then the cover goes on. And now you want to puree that up until it's rather smooth. And then have ready some of that water that you cook the asparagus in. And there's mine. I'm going to add about 2 cups of that. Let's see how we're doing here. And that is looking beautiful. So now I can take this out, and I'm going to put it right back into my pan. Hold down that blade before it comes out. There it goes. All of it. Isn't that a beautiful color? Right back into the pot. And this is a very quick soup. You could make this even if you had 2 toothaches. Get that out of the way. And then now to the rest of this recipe, you want to add, about 2 cups of that water. So there, that's 2 cups. And now stir this around, and then just give this a little bit of salt. And if you want, a little bit of pepper. And then you want to add, to finish this off again, a little bit of cream. Here's about 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Mix that in well, and then at the very end, of course, you put in those asparagus spears, just the tips. And now that's a wonderful soup, and that can be served as is or with a garnish.